Welcome back, Warrior. We're going to be reading Doctrine and Covenants, section 38 today. My eyes are not doing so good, though. So luckily we can zoom in. Okay, so it was now January 2nd to 1831, the Lamanite missionaries. Okay, so we jump from December to January. And what I'm sad about here is that we didn't get to see, their Christmas celebration. What did they do, Did they celebrate Christmas even? Back then, I feel like they could have, they did, maybe, I don't even know. But that's what I wish that we could do. And maybe I'll have to look that up and see, when did people start actually celebrating Christmas, right? Anyways, okay, so the Lamanite missionaries, I want to know what their traditions were and what do they do for Christmas and stuff like that. Meanwhile, missionaries were still working through the winter storm on their way to Missouri. Meanwhile, the saints in New York area had just learned the month before that they were being asked to leave their homes. Many questions continued to be asked by the members of the church as they gathered together, because moving in the winter is the best. No, it's not. Many questions continue to be asked as they gathered together for their third conference. The first conference had been held on June 9th, 1830, and the second in September 1830. The 1981 Doctrine and Covenants Study Student Manual explained this situation this way. During the third conference of the church, the prophet received Doctrine and Covenants section 38. This revelation was the Lord's answer to those who wondered why they should move 300 miles to the west in the dead of winter. It's sad that they use the word dead of winter because it signifies that everything's dead, but also it reminds us that the poor pioneers had so many people who passed away and who died during this crazy trek. So it's really sad that that's why. But yeah, that is what they were doing. And as they were gathered together, Joseph received the revelation recorded in section 38 in the presence of the whole congregation. John Whitmer recorded the following. Joseph the seer addressed the congregation and exhorted them to stand fast, looking forward, considering the end of their salvation. The solemnities of eternity rested on the congregation, and having previously received a revelation to go to Ohio, they desired to know somewhat more concerning this matter. Therefore, the seer inquired of the Lord in the presence of the whole congregation, and thus came the word of the Lord, saying, wow, that's crazy. And so section 38 followed. And that was John Whitmer from the Joseph Smith Papers. And so then what then followed? Some were quick to act in faith, and some were angry and accused the prophet. Well, because it's hard, the wicked take the truth to be hard. Not trying to call all the saints wicked, but you know what I'm saying. It's hard when, I guess you could consider that not necessarily a wicked choice, but a bad choice not being with God, right? If you're not with God, then who are you with? So here's another quote from the student manual. For the church, in the church history and the fullness of time student manual. Okay, it says, not everyone at the conference was in harmony with this revelation. A few people claim that Joseph Smith invented it to deceive the people and enrich himself. Yeah, because I'm sure he has so many riches. John Whitmer wrote in his history that this claim arose because the hearts of the saints were not right in the sight of the Lord, for they wanted to serve both God and man. In addition, some people were reluctant to leave prosperous farms and comfortable circumstances for the uncertainties of the Western Reserve in Ohio. Yeah, it's hard to leave certain places. It's hard to change. It's hard to leave your comfortable situation. Hard to leave places that you love, that you worked hard to create. It says there was the prospect that many would lose money and some might even be unable to sell their property. Most of the New York saints, however, reconciled themselves to the commandment and made preparations to leave. And it's funny because if I think about things too long, I allow Satan to get in there and twist my thoughts and and warp my thinking, and then, make me feel that more comfort in staying where I'm at and stagnant and not progressing, right? Like in the morning when I need to go work out, like I just want to stay in my bed, but that also keeps me stagnant and not progressing. But if I can wake up, move myself, go to the gym, then I'm going to become stronger. I'm going to be able to progress, and body in motion stays in motion. So I'm going to be able to keep doing stuff, right? So that's just what Satan wants us to do. He wants us to stay stagnant so that we can't go anywhere or progress with the Lord. And of course, doing hard things makes us rely more on the Lord. And so then our relationship strengthened with him. And so, doing this is an actual awesome thing, and is full of progress and connection with the Lord. Now, staying means you are not progressing. You are going to lose the opportunity to have that closer connection with Christ because of the hardships that you'd be missing out on, kind of thing. Anyway, so it's definitely something that is hard to do when you're asked to move. And I probably would have been more of like, let's do it, during the conference. I would have been all excited, and then let it sink in later, and I'd be like, no, what? I don't want to move. I don't want to do this anymore. So I probably would have experienced both. And then in the dead of winter, I'm not going to lie, they don't have Amazon back then, so I couldn't just order me the cool parka thing that you wear the whole thing. I need to get one for soccer games because it is so cold out there. But anyway, it's like a full body. It looks like you're wearing a sleeping bag. I need one of those. Anyway, they didn't have those back then, so you couldn't just be like, oh, it's fine, I'll just order me the luxuries from Amazon and I'll be able to trek my way 300 miles clear across the country so that I can go to the Ohio. And so it took a lot of faith for these saints to do that. So, I mean, whoever went, amazing. You guys are stalwart saints. If you didn't go, I probably would have done the same thing. So that's just really hard to say. And you can't judge people based on your luxuries and conveniences that you have. And because we weren't there, we didn't experience what they experienced, right? And so we can't judge them for making either choice, right? And I think sometimes it's easy for us to be like, how come they didn't follow the prophet? But if you think about certain things that we do these days, what are things that we follow the prophet on? And what are things that we haven't, For example, I remember President Hinckley talking about having just one piercing for girls. It's not saying that you're sinning or that you're going to go to hell if you have more piercings, or that you can't have a good connection with Christ if you have 2 piercings or more. It's just the fact that President Hinckley mentioned it, and it's like, are you going to follow the prophet or not? And so certain things were really hard for those saints, and certain things are really hard for us saints. And so it's one of those things where, we don't want to judge other people and why or why not they choose things. But we just need to make those choices for ourselves and allow other people to make their choice and just not be super judgmental about stuff. Anyways, okay, so Newell Knight recorded what happened following this conference. As the saints prepared to leave, he wrote, hold on. It was at this conference that we were instructed as a people to begin the gathering of Israel, and a revelation was given to the prophet on this subject. Having returned home from conference in obedience to the commandment which had been given, I, together with the Colesville branch, began to make preparations to go to Ohio. As might be expected, we were obliged to make great sacrifices of our property. The most of my time was occupied in visiting the brethren and helping to arrange their affairs, so that we might travel together in one company. Oh man, again, it would be so hard. So, and especially if you're like one of the leaders, you're almost expected to go, and then you're just like, wait, but I don't actually want to go. Or maybe like my wife doesn't want to go, but I have to go, right? So it's like, ah. Anyways, it would have been so hard. And that quote was from Larry C. Porter, the Colesville branch, and the coming forth of the Book of Mormon in the BYU Studies Quarterly, Volume 10. Okay, spring 1970. As you study section 38, notice the various reasons the Lord gives the saints for making this move, which reasons would cause you to act in faith, take all of your possessions, and leave your home, friends, and community behind. Well, hopefully some of our friends would come with, because it's a revelation to not just me personally, but to everybody else, right? Also. Okay, so section 38 has about 42 verses. And so here's the preface. It says, Revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet at Fayette, New York, January 2nd, 1831. The occasion was a conference of the church. All right. Okay, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord your God, even Jesus Christ, the great I am, Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the same which looked upon the wide expanse of eternity and all the seraphic hosts of heaven before the world was made, the same which knoweth all things, for all things are present before mine eyes. I am the same which spake, and the world was made, and all things came by me. Okay, so Elder Neal A. Maxwell taught this. Since all things are present with God, his is not simply a predicting based solely upon the past in ways which are not clear to us. He actually sees rather than foresees the future, because all things are at once present before him. In a revelation given to the prophet Joseph Smith, the Lord describes himself as the same which knoweth all things, for all things are present before mine eyes. From the prophet Nephi, we receive the same basic insight, in which we likewise must trust. But the Lord knoweth all things from the beginning, wherefore he prepareth the way to accomplish all his works among the children of men. It was by divine design that the marvelous Mary became the mother of Jesus. Further, Lucy Mack Smith, who played such a crucial role in the rearing of Joseph Smith, did not come to that assignment by chance. I love that, which also confirms that I think that all of our children don't come to us by chance. It's not just Joseph Smith, but it's but our children through infertility. This is how I have learned this, because if the Lord wanted a specific child not to die by the dumpster, he would have brought him to me. Or if he didn't want some random person aborting their baby, he would have made me pregnant with that baby. But I know that those things have happened, and that he has a plan even for them. And so the children that I have are specific for me, and they help me grow in the same way that I can help them grow, and become who they need to be. And so together it's like works out perfect. And so it's not by chance. And so if you're ever like, gosh, I'm not the best mom for these kids, think again, that's Satan talking. You are the perfect mom for these kids. If the Lord wanted you to have different kids, he would have sent them different. He would have sent you different kids, and he would have sent those kids different moms. Okay, so that's just my 5 cents about that. And then one of the dimensions of worshiping a living God is to know that he is alive and living in the sense of seeing and acting. He is not a retired God whose best years are past, to whom we should pay a retroactive obeisance, worshiping him or what he has already done. He is the living God who is at once in the dimension of the past and present and future, while we labor constrained by the limitations of time itself. End quote. Ooh. Elder Neal A. Maxwell, A More Determined Discipleship, Enzi, February 1979. Also, there's an affirmation that I love, says, I am the master of my time, because there are limitations of time itself, but how can some people do amazing things with their time and some people cannot, right? So I try to remember these things, and like, if I don't take advantage of my time, it will be lost forever, kind of thing. So, okay, then we have verse 4. I am the same which take which have taken the Zion of Enoch into mine own bosom. And verily I say, even as many as have believed in my name, for I am Christ, and in mine own name, by the virtue of the blood which I have spilt, have I pleaded before the Father for them. But behold, the residue of the wicked have I kept in chains of darkness until the judgment of the great day, which shall come at the end of the earth. And even so will I cause the wicked to be kept that will not hear my voice, but harden their hearts, and woe, woe, woe is their doom. But behold, verily, verily, I say unto you that mine eyes are upon you. I am in your midst, and ye cannot see me. Ooh. But the day soon cometh that ye shall see me, and know that I am. For the veil of darkness shall soon be rent, and he that is not purified shall not abide the day. Wherefore gird up your loins, and be prepared. Behold, the kingdom is yours, and the enemy shall not overcome. Verily I say unto you, ye are clean, but not all, and there is none else with whom I am well pleased. For all flesh is corrupted before me, and the powers of darkness prevail upon the earth among the children of men, in the presence of all the hosts of heaven. Psh, that's major right there. Which causes silence to reign, and all eternity is pain, and the angels are waiting the great command to reap down the earth, to gather the tares, and that they may be burned. And behold, the enemy is combined. Ooh. Okay, so President Gordon B. Hinckley says this. I thought of an experience I had long ago. In the summer we lived on a farm. We had a little old tractor. There was a dead tree I wished to pull. I fastened one end of the chain to the tractor and the other end to the tree. As the tractor began to move, the tree shook a little, and then the chain broke. I looked at the broken link and wondered how it could have given way. I went to the hardware store and bought a repair link. I put it together again, but it was an awkward and ugly connection. The chain was never the same. Oh, I put 3 nevers, but there's 2 nevers. As I sat pondering these things, I said to myself, never permit yourself to become a weak link in the chain of your generations. It is so important that we pass on without a blemish our inheritance of body and brain, and, if you please, faith and virtue untarnished, to the generations who will come after us. You young men and young women, most of you will marry and have children. Your children will have children, as will the children whom come after them. Life is a great chain of generations that we in the church believe must be linked together. End quote. President Gordon B. Hinckley, Keep the Chains Unbroken, BYU Devo, November 30th, 1999. Ooh. So, I think it's amazing that the prophet Joseph Smith was able to say this to the congregation or to everybody at the conference, but as Jesus Christ, I feel like if something like that happened now, I don't know how it would come out. Right? Does he put it in first person? Does he put it in third person? The Lord said, that's the only thing that I'm wondering about. How did this happen? How did it get played out? How did it go down? But it's fine because, these were the saints that needed to hear it the way that they heard it. Okay. And now I show unto you a mystery, a thing which is had in secret chambers, to bring to pass even your destruction in process of time, and ye knew it not. But now I tell it unto you, and ye are blessed, not because of your iniquity, neither your hearts of unbelief, for verily some of you are guilty before me, but I will be merciful unto your weakness. Therefore be ye strong from henceforth, fear not, for the kingdom is yours. Oh, I love it. See, he's talking about our weakness and that some are guilty, but we can still be strong henceforth, meaning from this time forward, the kingdom can still be ours. Sorry. And yours, and verse 16, and for your salvation I give unto you a commandment. For I have heard your prayers, and the poor have complained before me, and the rich have I made, and all flesh is mine, and I am no respecter of persons. And I have made the earth rich, and behold, it is my footstool. Wherefore again I will stand upon it. And I hold forth a dine to give unto you greater riches. Okay, hold on. What's the word dine mean? To think someone is worthy to grant or allow. Okay. And I hold forth and dine to give you unto you greater riches, even a land of promise, a land flowing with milk and honey, upon which there shall be no curse when the Lord cometh. And I will give it unto you for the land of your inheritance, if you seek it with all your hearts. And this shall be my covenant with you. Ye shall have it for the land of your inheritance, and for the inheritance of your children forever, while the earth shall stand, and ye shall possess it again in eternity, in eternity, no more to pass away. But verily I say unto you, that in time ye shall have no king, nor ruler. For I will be your king, and watch over you. Wherefore hear my voice, and follow me, and you shall be free people, and ye shall have no laws but my laws when I come, for I am your lawgiver. And what can stay my hand? Okay, so then there's I love that he said that the saints were not aware of, meaning that they weren't aware of like people that were secretly plotting their destruction, right? And this is another pressing reason to go to Ohio, because he was trying to protect them. And they were not physically safe where they were. And when he says, be strong and fear not, the Lord tells them, why? For the kingdom is yours, for the Lord has heard your prayers. And he is taking you to a land filled with milk and honey. So the Lord is not simply moving his people, but he is making a covenant with them, which will lead them to having no king but Christ himself. So could the saints even begin to imagine how important this command and promised blessing, in fact, this covenant would be for them in the future? Right now it is God who is commanding them to leave. In the future, it will be the wicked who force them to leave. But look to what is coming. It is greater than they know. Indeed, although they did not see it now, God really is preparing them for what is to come in the decades to follow, as well as in the eternities. So 1 month after this revelation was received, Joseph wrote a letter to Hiram and revealed more specifics about the enemies that were coming after them. Here's part of the letter. It says, my dearly beloved Hiram, I have had much concern about you, but I always remember you in my prayers, calling upon God to keep you safe in spite of men and devils. I think you had better come into this country immediately, for the Lord has commanded us that we should call the elders of this church together. Gather unto this place as soon as possible. David Jackways has threatened to take Father with a supreme writ in the spring. You had better come to Fayette and take Father along with you. Come in one horse wagon. If you can, do not come through Buffalo, for they will lie in wait for you. God protect you. I am Joseph. Amazing. That was letter of Joseph Smith to Hiram Smith, and you can find that on josephsmithpapers.org. Okay, verse 22. But verily I say unto you, teach one another according to the office wherewith I have appointed you, and let every man esteem his brother as himself, and practice virtue and holiness before me. And again I say unto you, let every man esteem his brother as himself. For what man among you, having 12 sons, and is no respecter of them, and they serve him obediently, and he saith unto them, be thou clothed in robes, and sit thou here, and to the other, be thou clothed in rags, and sit thou here, and looketh upon his sons, and saith, I am just. Behold, this I have given unto you as a parable, and it is even as I am. I say unto you, be one, and if ye are not one, ye are not mine. And again I say unto you, that the enemy in the secret chambers seeketh your lives. Ye hear of wars in far countries, and you say that there will soon be great wars in far countries, but ye know not the hearts of men in your own land. So yeah, he's trying to tell them, he's trying to give them the heads up. Okay. And then we have verse 30. I tell you these things because of your prayers. Wherefore treasure up wisdom in your bosoms, lest the wickedness of men reveal these things unto you by their wickedness, in a manner which shall speak in your ears with a voice louder than that which shall shake the earth. But if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear, and that ye may escape the power of the enemy, and be gathered unto me a righteous people without spot and blameless. Wherefore, for this cause I give unto you the commandment that ye should go to the Ohio, and there I will give unto you my law, and there you shall be endowed with power from on high. And from thence whosoever I will shall go forth among all nations. It shall be told them what they shall do, for I have great work laid up in store. For Israel shall be saved, and I will lead them whithersoever I will, and no power shall stay my hand. Okay, so quote from Joseph Fielding Smith. The purpose. Joseph Smith declared, "What was the object of gathering the people of God in any age of the world? The main object was to build unto the Lord a house whereby he could reveal unto his people the ordinances of his house and the glories of his kingdom, and teach the people the way of salvation. For there are certain ordinances and principles that when they are taught and practiced must be done in a place or house built for that purpose. It is for the same purpose that God gathers together his people in the last days to build unto the Lord a house, to prepare them for the ordinances and endowments, washings and anointings, etc." So Joseph Fielding Smith, Teachings of the Prophet Joseph Smith, 1976. Okay, and now the very last bit here. "And now I give unto the church in these parts of a commandment, that certain men among them shall be appointed, and they shall be appointed by the voice of the church, and they shall look to the poor and the needy, and administer to their relief, that they shall not suffer, and send them forth to the place which I have commanded them. And this shall be their work, to govern the affairs of the property of this church. And they that have farms that cannot be sold, let them be left or rented as seemeth them good." Left. Farms are going to be left or sold. Oh, I know, it's crazy. "See that all things are preserved, and when men are endowed with power from on high and sent forth, all these things shall be gathered unto the bosom of the church. And if ye seek the riches which it is the will of the Father to give unto you, ye shall be the richest of all people. For ye shall have the riches of eternity, and it must needs be that the riches of the earth are mine to give. But beware of pride, lest ye become as the Nephites of old. And again I say unto you, I give unto you a commandment, that every man, both elder, priest, teacher, and also member, to go with his might, with the labor of his hands, to prepare and accomplish things which I have commanded. And let your preaching be the warning voice, every man to his neighbor, in mildness and in meekness. And go ye out from among the wicked, save yourselves, be ye clean, and bear the vessels of the Lord, even so. Amen." Okay, I really like, which was the scripture, where is it? "And if ye seek the riches which it is the will of the Father to give unto you, ye shall be the richest of all people. For ye shall have the riches of eternity. And it must needs be that the riches of the earth are mine to give. But beware of pride, lest ye become as the Nephites of old." Okay, so the riches are the Lord's to give. And so it is not ours to get for our gain, like it's to further the work of the Lord. And I'm sure that was hard for them to hear at that time. Are you okay, mate? Oh, did you squeeze your finger? Oh, sorry. Rub it. Okay, so leadership and discipleship are needed as the gathering took place back then, and is still taking place today. The Lord needs those who are obedient, those who will care for the poor and needy, those who are organized, and those who are selfless and humble. He needs those who have an eye single to the glory of God, those who are hard workers and that labor with all their might, those who will preach with a warning voice that is meek and mild, and those who are clean. Okay, and then verse 41 contains, so there's a quote that I'm going to read that I need to look up first, but it is about women. And it's amazing, and how it just kind of helps us step it up a notch. Like we don't need to be afraid. We don't need to hide. We don't need to assume. We don't need to wait for the men to do things for us to do things. I love the fact that Mary was the first to see Christ and to testify of him. And it is our job to be the first to testify of Christ. Women can be the first to testify of Christ, and we were, and like of his resurrection. And so like it's just like an awesome opportunity for us to take whenever we can take that chance. We need to do that. Okay, but really quick, let me finish this, and then I'm going to find that quote. So it says, verse 41 contains some important counsel on how we are to be a warning voice to the world. In sections before, we were taught that we must have a voice of a trumpet. But here we are told it should be mild and meek. Can a warning voice have all those elements? Yes, a disciple can speak clearly, boldly, and unapologetically, but still be mild and meek. Elder David A. Bednar taught that meekness is distinguished by righteous responsiveness, willing submissiveness, and strong self-restraint. And I remember that talk, and he said meekness is not weakness. And so it's a talk from Meek and Lowly of Heart, April 2018 General Conference. Let me look for that quote. Okay, I think I found it. It is called The Joy of Womanhood by Margaret D. Nadald. She was the Young Women General President at the time, and this was 2000, October 2000, General Conference. And the whole talk's really great. I love it. But this part right here kind of stood out to me. Let's see if I can find it again. I had to scroll down. It says, daughters of God know that it is the nurturing nature of women that can bring everlasting blessings, and they live to cultivate this divine attribute. Surely, when a woman reverences motherhood, her children will arise up and call her blessed. Okay, but you don't need to have birthed children to be a mother. Okay, we know that. But here's the quote. Here's the part that I really like. Women of God can never be like women of the world. The world has enough women who are tough. We need women who are tender. There are enough women who are coarse. We need women who are kind. There are enough women who are rude. We need women who are refined. We have enough women of fame and fortune. We need more women of faith. We have enough greed. We need more goodness. We have enough vanity. We need more virtue. We have enough popularity. We need more purity. Oh, how we pray that every young woman will grow up to be all the wonderful things she is meant to be. We pray that her mother and father will show her the right way. May daughters of God honor the priesthood and sustain worthy priesthood holders. May they understand their own great capacity for strength in the timeless virtues that some would scoff at in a modern, liberated world for women. I love that, right? Okay, and then there was another talk. Hold on. Yes, here it is. It's President Nelson quoted President Packer, and he said, and this is in October 2015 General Conference. Is that what it says? Yeah. And it's in a talk called A Plea to My Sisters. And he says, and this is what President Packer says, but President Nelson's quoting it, so it's like double truth. So it says, we need women who are organized and women who can organize. We need women with executive ability who can plan and direct and administer. Women who can teach, women who can speak out. We need women with the gift of discernment who can view the trends in the world and detect those that, however popular, are shallow or dangerous. Today, let me add that we need women who know. Okay, so that was end quote from President Packer. Now we're going into President Nelson's adding. Today, let me add that we need women who know how to make important things happen by their faith and who are courageous defenders of morality and families in a sin-sick world. We need women who are devoted to shepherding God's children along the covenant path toward exaltation. Women who know how to receive personal revelation, who understand the power and peace of the temple endowment. Women who know how to call upon the powers of heaven to protect and strengthen children and families. Women who teach fearlessly. End quote. Isn't that a powerful quote? And he not one time said we need women who can do this after the men help us lead. No, he never says that. This is like, it's just women. Like, do not base your obedience on someone else's choices. It is our choice to connect with Christ. it is our responsibility to connect with Christ in the way that we want and desire. And it is not something that we need to wait on somebody else to figure it out before we choose to take ownership of that relationship with Christ ourselves. So, it's funny because I used to think, oh, I need to make sure my family's doing this and this and this. And I was so worried about my family doing so much stuff that I never spent the time to do it myself. I didn't spend the time to connect with heaven, but I was trying to send them to heaven, right? I'm like, go to Jesus, you know, but I wasn't spending time going to Jesus myself. And I think because of that, my spirit wasn't strong enough. And so I could get easily burnt out, easily worn out, easily, you know, and then wouldn't take care of those things that I needed. Like I couldn't fill my cup to then pour into everybody else's cup, you know, couldn't fill my pitcher to do that. And so that's the number one thing, is connect with Christ yourself before you can even bring anybody else with you. You know, the Lord said, bring them hither, right? When he's talking about the people who need to come to Christ. He says, bring them hither. Well, if you're not going yourself, you can't bring people. He didn't say send them to me. He said, bring them with you. So we have to be with them to bring them with, like we have to be there in that to bring them. So anyway, I really love that visual. And that is it for Doctrine and Covenants section, whatever we were reading. What was it? Section 37? Or just kidding, 38. We're reading Doctrine and Covenants section 38. And let me read the Read It Live It and then we'll be done. Okay, here's the Read It Live It for section 38. Okay, let's see if I can read it. In the last days, darkness... Okay. In the last days, darkness will prevail upon the earth, but the Lord will hear our prayers. He reminds us that all things are present before his eyes. He will be in our midst. Be ye strong. Yes, I love that. He is in our midst. And so that is it for today. And I think Flora likes to help us with this. Did you want to help? What are you going to say? We're all done. So what do you say when we're all done?
Stay strong, warrior.
Stay strong, warrior.